Okay everyone, welcome to another Arduino for Me tutorial. Today we will be going over the code for another tutorial I did. Well, actually, code for another demonstration I did before. There'll probably be a link on the screen right now. You can click that and go to that video. Basically showing what this code does. I built the circuit for this code in that video, so you can look at that, build the circuit, and upload this code to it. Now, I'm not going to give you guys the code for the reason that in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make the code. I'm going to be teaching you extremely basic Arduino coding. So let's get started with that. So this is we're going to start from the top and go down. Now, this first command you see in orange, one thing that the Arduino IDE it does is that certain words are command words. They're things. They're called syntax, code syntax. And you'll see that in any IDE. It will have different colors to show you that you're using a code that will actually do something. So, like this int stands for integer, and it's orange, showing you that this is going to do something. Now, what this code is doing is we're creating a variable. Now, variables are things that change and can change. Now, that's really nice to have because, for one reason, one of the many reasons variables are nice is that here you've got the option to say, I've changed my mind. I don't want to have this. I don't want to have my first LED on pin 13. I'm going to put my first LED on pin 9. Well, then you don't have to go through all of this and change it all to pin 9. Now, everything in this whole code is pin 9. I should probably mention what this code actually does. It's going to make 4 LEDs blink in a sequence, in a pattern. Basically, the first one's going to blink, then turn off, then the second one's going to blink, then turn off, then the other one's going to blink, turn off, and the last one's going to blink and turn off. Then it's going to go back to the first. So it's basically a loop, okay? Which is what this here is. This is loop, and we'll go over that in a little bit. So another thing that I wanted to go over was something called camel case, used for your variables and your commands, your syntax. This is where you've got your text looks like basically the back of a camel, because you've got LED, it's small, and then it goes up to capital P, so just like that. That's called camel case. We use that for commands down here, syntax here. You know, the uppercase W, and then you've got the up here for variables. All right, so there's that. And also, you're gonna want you have to have a semicolon at the end of all your code lines, your lines of code, except for your loop and your setup. There are a few exceptions. You can look at the code that you're uploading to your board, like the stuff that I give you. And you can look at that. This is basically gonna help you decode what the code that I give you. So you can look for that. And this equal sign is basically saying that now this LED pin 1 equals 13. Now this 13 is pin 13, and that 13 is actually a variable built into the Arduino IDE. It's already built in there, so you didn't have to define it. That's what we're doing up here. We're defining LED pin 1 as pin 13. So that's called defining a variable. If you see that in the error message, this variable was undefined, you might want to check and make sure you didn't define the same variable twice or something like that. And so there's that. All right. And now we're going to go to setup. This is void setup. Now you need to have the curly bracket, not to be confused with the regular bracket, which looks like this. Curly brackets have little curls there. So you have to have a curl here to show that this is all part of setup, and an end curl here. And you're also going to want your double parentheses right there. I'm not really sure what that's for. All I know is that you have to have that for your code to actually work, for the board to recognize it. Alright. So first command that we see here is pin mode. Basically we're setting this pin, LED pin 1, which is pin 13, to output mode. So that's going to be output, not an input like a switch or a button or a thermistor, which I did tutorials on all those. This is an output, so like an LED, a servo, a buzzer, something like that. So this is saying that pins 1 through 4, or 13 or 10 through 13, are now outputs. Okay, so now Arduino knows what those pins do. Alright, so now let's go to loop. Now, this was our setup code. That doesn't run anything. That's not gonna like start anything. Basically run. This is the loop code. Now that's going to run all the things in between these two brackets. Alright? And that's going to loop it over and over and over again as long as it's got power. So this is digital write. Alright, now basically we're writing to the digital pins, which there are 14 of those. There's pins 0 through 13, including 0 is 14 pins. And those are basically for your outputs. So you're going to want to put your outputs on those pins, and then there's other pins on the other side that are analog pins. Those are for inputs. So this is digital. Those are the digital pins, the 0 through 13. And that's also known as PWM, P as in pet, not B as in boy. And those are for outputs, and the analog are for inputs. So the analog's actually going to be different. Say you want to read the power coming in from a button. You're going to do analog read. Pretty sure that's, maybe I didn't spell that right or something. Yeah, I'm saying ano, it's analog read. So then you're gonna just put your parentheses and your semicolon, and then let's say we want to read LED pin 1, then comma, and we're gonna read it, see if it's high. Now this has to be all caps. Alright, now that's not actually going to do anything, but that's just a demonstration of the analog. Okay, so now let's see, we have a comma here, and then we have this high. Now what this high is it's saying we're going to turn the output on high. So if it's an LED, we're going to turn that LED on. If it's a buzzer, it's going to go bzzz, you know. And if it's a servo, there's other things you have to do for a servo. You can look at the servo code, actually, on my servo video, so you could look at that if you're really curious about servos. But look in the code that you download from the website for that. So that's high. And then we're going to delay. So basically we're going to pause. And this says 1,000. What does that mean exactly? Well, that's milliseconds. So it wouldn't be 1,000 seconds. It's actually 1 second in our seconds, but 1,000 milliseconds. So if we did this, there's 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and so on. So 1 second is usually enough to give it that blink effect. And then we're going to digital write the LED pin to low. And that low is basically, it's not getting rid of voltage completely. As I understand, there's still some small amount of voltage there going through, but it's not enough to activate or to power the LED. So essentially it's off to our eyes, so we'll just call that off for now. So after we've turned that one off, we're then going to turn second pin on, and then we're going to delay again, and we're going to turn it off, and then the same thing over and over and over again, and it's just going to keep looping until we take the battery off or unplug it from our computer, basically until we get rid of power from the board. Alright guys, so this has been a very simple tutorial on coding. Hopefully you'll be able to pick up a lot from this, and maybe program some stuff. If you have some stuff that you've done you want to show me, go right ahead. I might even put it in one of my videos. So yeah, definitely. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next tutorial.